All right, we are back to the Comedy Collision podcast. I am your host, Nick Hanek. This is episode. This is coming out early March. It's going to be, I think, 84. Don't take my word for that too much. But we're joined today by a not local, but by a living legend. All right, local being USA. All right, the number one country in the world. This man, all the way from New Jersey, born and raised. Now he's back. Now you're back in Manhattan after leaving, going to Florida for some time. You may know him from a little band called the Four Seasons. I don't know if you've ever heard that one. December 1963. This is the golden vocals on it. The Hitmen, later in life. Gerry Polci, ladies and gentlemen. Gerry Polci. Thank you, sir, for coming on the podcast.
Hey, how's it going?
It is going great. I want to say, again, thank you for doing this. And yeah, man, how is life treating you these days? How is getting back into it in Manhattan?
Life is good. I moved here, moved back to Manhattan in June of last year after spending a hiatus in Florida, which proved to be very boring. And now I'm back in the Northeast and getting acclimated to New York living, which took a little while, and getting close to it, and starting different things, different aspects of my career at this point in my life. And it's a good point to be, because I just do, not to coin it, I do exactly what I want to do. And so it's very cool. I mean, it's a good place to be.
I love that. And that's the attitude of the podcast, man. Live your life. Do exactly whatever you want to do. I call it the rock star diet. If you want to wake up and have a frozen pizza at 2 a.m., go for it. Just knock it out of the park. Eat the ice cream you want.
For me, it's probably a couple leftover slices, but and I like cold pizza, by the way. So.
There you go. Oh, you're a cold pizza guy. I feel like that's a good debate. I feel like I don't know if I am. Can you sell me real fast on a slice of cold pizza?
Well, it starts out warm.
Sure.
So
yeah, there you go. I don't think you're pulling out of the freezer.
So it starts out warm, then you eat some, then you take a break, and say maybe the next day,
oh man,
if you wrapped it up or you left it out. If you left it out, you got to stay away from it. But if you wrap it up and put it in the fridge, then you take it out for lunch and you eat it cold. You don't heat it up.
Sure. Have you had I don't know if you could do that though with like deep dish in Chicago.
Have you had deep dish here?
I've spent a lot of time in Chicago. Beautiful. And my first gig with the Four Seasons was at the Airy Crown Theater in 1973. That was my first
Look at
gig.
that.
The week before, I think I was doing a gig, there were like 150 people there. That night, there was 7,500 people, sold out, crazy as can be. That was my taste of Chicago. And then I endorsed Ludwig Drums, which is from Chicago. And so I played so many places. We did a lot of work in Chicago. We were always a couple times a year in Chicago. We always played. So I know that place. And I've never tried cold deep dish.
I don't think you want to,
man. Going, so now I'm going to go buy some deep dish and try it out.
All right. Well, when you're in town, let me know. We'll get some deep dish, and then you take some home
so you can make it cold, freeze it, whatever you got to do.
But yeah, man, thank you for coming on. I got a list of questions for you, man, that I've always wanted to ask you. Obviously, the big fame, it comes from 1963, which I got. First one's kind of a joke of a question, but where were you in actual 1963? Because the song came out in 76, right?
Yeah, it came out in 76. In 1963, I was 11.
Okay, so the song, unless you're just crushing it at 11, that's not about.
Well, yeah, there's so many things that could be said right now, but I'm just not going to go there. But yeah, sure. At 11, I wasn't crushing it. So,
Okay.
Thank God my mother said, no, not yet. My dad probably would have said, go ahead, but no.
At 11. That's like fifth grade. That's so funny. So they come to you with this song, right? And you've been playing drums for, like you said, 73 was your first gig with them.
Yeah.
Have you sang lead before on a track with them?
Oh, never with them. No. I was singing, when I first came with the group, I just played drums and then did background vocals.
Okay.
And then so the first couple of years I was singing background vocals. And then they gave me a lead to sing My Love. Remember the Paul McCartney song?
Sure.
You know, out of nowhere. We didn't record it, but I sang that live, and so it was fine. But the big thing was that I was singing different registers with the backgrounds. I'd sing top, I'd sing middle, and bottom.
Okay.
All depends on the tune. So when they approached me to do the song, it was really at a time where the rumors was going to come out, and you know, you had that band that, you know, multiple leads. You know, Stevie was singing, Chris McVie, I could never get his name right. You know, they were singing multiple leads. Chicago did it. Blood, Sweat, and Tears kind of, you know, but Chicago more so. And so they wanted to do it. They wanted to try it. And so that particular song, so we do the track.
Yeah.
And the track, we loved the track. It was nice and simple, and it was burning, so fine. We liked it. But the song that they had originally had was a dopey song. It was about prohibition. And it talked about flappers flipping on the floor and whatever that means. And then it was the wrong date. It was 1933 when I think it was 1932. And so we looked at Frankie and Bob, because Bob and his wife wrote the song.
Wrote it.
You know, Bob Gaudio. I mean, he wrote wrote a ton of all the big hits.
Legend,
With and his partner was Frankie. So we said to them, me, Don Ciccone, Lee Shapiro, and John Paiva, we just said, we love the track, but man, this song is just nowhere. We cannot, because we were like the young guys, and they had been in for a long time.
Sure.
We were the young guys. And we just said, no way. And the next day, Bob and Judy came back with December 63, or What a Night. They
just
wrote
needed like a
new lyrics, different melody, and that's what they presented us. And
is there a recording of that first one with the prohibition kind of lyrics?
No. We wouldn't even. We wouldn't even go near a mic with that one.
Yeah,
we started singing it in rehearsal. We started to laugh. It was bad.
Yeah, that's what you know.
What came out of that was this epic tune that they wrote in 24 hours.
Epic is almost an understatement. I mean, this is a song that I'm 26 years old. I mean, not to act like that's young or anything, but like, I mean, I've been listening to it all my life. I'll tell you this though, funny story. I did this theater in Chicago, this very small theater, nothing big, for stand up. We sold it out as a group, and after to celebrate, we went to a karaoke bar. My mom had never seen me do stand up before, so we went up and we sang a song. We picked December 1963. As soon as you kind of start singing the lyrics, you go, "This is not the right person to be singing the song with."
Right.
And there's a video of us just being like, "Oh, this is weird." This got very awkward very quickly.
Yeah, it's awkward. Yeah, I'm sure it got awkward real quick.
But it is a song that transcends generations, man. And that's actually a question I was wondering too. Is, you know, obviously it's from a band called Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Frankie Valli singing most of this. I mean, 99% of the leads of his songs. Did it? I don't know if, like, I don't want to be rude in any way of saying like frustration, but like, was it ever weird that like I think most people assume he sings this song and then you're like, that was me? Like, do you feel like there was enough credit there, or how did that, like, what was that feeling like? I don't mean to ask that in any rude way.
Yeah.
That's a very good question, because it has been brought up before. And that problem, let's say, that name recognition of that song has been going on since it was recorded.
Yeah.
And it's still going on.
We're here to set them straight. We're setting them straight today, though. This is why we're doing the podcast.
Yeah. Well, we'll set these people straight. Then next week I got to, maybe set other people straight. But it has been going on for a very, very long time, because yes, Frankie Valli was the lead singer.
Sure.
So to hear a Four Seasons song, because those songs weren't billed as Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Those were Four Seasons records, because Frankie had his own separate deal as a separate artist, as a solo artist. So when we did the Who Loves You album, that was a Four Seasons record. So, but still, everyone they know Four Seasons with Frankie Valli.
Yeah.
And so, and on that same record, I sang Silver Star, which was it was a top 30 song in the States. It was #1 record in Europe for like a couple of weeks. And that was all me. And then there were a couple of things. Don Ciccone had sung a few things on that album. So we kind of were departing from just Frankie singing everything.
Sure.
But December then took off and went crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, you taken it, and I mean, it was #1 here, I think, in the top 100. I was doing some research for you on the podcast, doing a little data entry, and I mean, how do they not give you the ball after that? You know what I mean? They gotta keep trying to feed this guy. He just got us to top 100. It's got to be the biggest hit ever in Four Seasons history.
It is the biggest hit.
That's such a cool thing to say you did, man. And
which is weird because, you always think of them with Sherry and Big Girls Don't Cry.
Sure.
But when December came out, it sold over 4 million singles. So it sold more than those records.
Yeah.
It's personally my favorite. Did you, were you nervous at all to take on the role of like doing the lead singing on that? Or was it just, like they're asking me to do it and let's score the touchdown? Kind of got to get in the game.
It's funny. That's a good question too, because I don't get nervous. I might get anxious to get it going, to do it. Let me get in there. And like if I'm about to do a show, I don't get nervous to do the show. I just want to get out there. I want that's a lot of fun. So singing in a studio especially is, I enjoy it so much. So it's something that, no, I don't. I really didn't get nervous because they were very supportive. Frankie was very supportive. Bob Gaudio was very supportive.
Great.
And so with that, I mean, you're looking at two, pretty big superstars. In the music biz, and they're saying, "Go for it, do it."
If you're getting an endorsement from those two at that time, I mean, any time, but at that time, I mean, that's a pretty good, that's my right-hand man. That's a pretty good backup support to have right there.
It is.
Without a doubt. It's not like he wasn't on the track at all, too. So, and by the way, that question about the anxiety and getting nervous, did you get anxious like when you came back from Florida and played like maybe your first gig in Manhattan? Like, do you still feel that anxiety to kind of get out there? Right before the show?
Funny, the only anxiety or pressure I have now at this age is preparation. If I'm prepared, I'm fine. I mean, if I have charts or if I go through the music or I know what I'm doing or my hands are in good shape or I'm ready or my drums are sounding good, then I'm fine. I just go and do it, and it turns out that like the last thing I did, I turned out to be the music director. I tended to, I was the one that I ran rehearsals and I ran sound checks and I did the count offs and I did any of the conducting. So when you're immersed in it, you just go for it. You really go for it.
What was it like getting on that side of it? Like teaching music? You said you were a professor teaching music?
I got off the road in 1990 and went back to school. I was up here in New Jersey, and I continued my. I had done 2 years at a university in New Jersey, Montclair State University, and I went back to school. I went back to school full time. I did gigs at night and went back to school full time, 18 credits a semester, and I did that for 3 years and got a teaching degree in June and got a teaching gig in September, and a really fantastic place that very student oriented, of course, but the parents were so into the arts and athletics and academics. I mean, they were so into it. And so it was a really great place to teach. I taught there for 20 years.
Fantastic. Wow. Middle school. Okay, cool. I was wondering what level it was at. That's fantastic.
Well, I actually taught both because I was the middle school band director. I had a jazz band, a concert band, and I taught all the different instruments. And then I was also involved in the high school marching band.
Nice.
And the middle school and the high school were in the same building. So it was like, I saw these kids for 6 years. So it was a very good relationship.
Is there a moment that sticks out from the teaching career that's like hilarious or like a good funny moment as a teacher? Just like you're like, look, this is my. I used to be, I torn with the Four Seasons, and now look at this kid making like maybe a silly mistake or something. I have no idea what it is. Was there like a moment that sticks out at all that you think back about and laugh at?
Well, December was re-released in 1994, and it became another a top 10 hit again. And that's when it went. That's when it beat out White Christmas for being on Billboard Hot 100 for 54 weeks. It subsequently has been beat out by Who Let the Dogs Out. So that kind of shows you the direction of the music business, you know. It's like, okay, great. White Christmas, December 63, and Who Let the Dogs Out. This is
it's just boop, boop. Oh man, where are those guys now? I can't. I tell you what, they're not like the Four Seasons. I'll tell you that. I can't even tell you. Can you name who sings that song?
I have no idea.
I have no. Is there music now that like what is music now that you're listening to, or is it still old school all the way through? Which is probably not old.
Thankfully, my girlfriend has a tremendous musical taste. She's also an incredibly talented musician and singer, and just amazing. And she listens to a lot of music and a lot of different music. So I'm very fortunate that I'm like, okay, oh, that's good. I like that. You know, I haven't heard a lot of stuff. And she has this ridiculous memory. She knows every song in the world. So if something comes on, she'll start the melody before it hits, before it comes in, which will drive you crazy. That'll drive you nuts because she'll prep the song before it even starts. But I learn a lot from that. So, yeah, I listen to a lot of stuff. Of course, you know, there are some things I don't listen to because, you know, I'm basically I like tunes, you know, I love songs. So if there's chaos going on, sometimes that drives me a little crazy. But then again, I tune out the chaos and I'm listening to the beats. So, you know, so there's always something good out of anything that you listen to, you know. And
that's a great lesson. That's a great lesson. Yeah. Is there a guilty pleasure one that maybe your girlfriend showed you that you're like, these guys aren't half bad, and that maybe no one would think Gerry Polci's a fan of?
Bob Moses is there's, you know who Bob Moses is?
If he's who I'm thinking of, let me do a quick check here. 1 second, Bob. This is why we got the laptop. This is not who I'm thinking of. I was thinking of somebody else. Who's Bob Moses?
Bob Moses, they do this like, it's not EDM. I wouldn't call it EDM. It's just got these fabulous lyrics and multi-layered instrumentation, and it's pretty good stuff. I mean, it's really good stuff. But you know,
I have no idea what I was thinking of.
I was thinking soul music. I don't know why I went to that. But Moses feels like a soul music last night.
Yeah, he does. Right?
I don't even hate it.
I don't even hate thinking that's where I went with that. EDM, yeah, would not think electronic music for you. There you go. But yeah, it's cool watching. So it's actually insane what they could do now with the drum kits electronically. I mean, that's how I learned. I learned on an electronic one because it's just too loud in the house. So we built this like platform, and then throw on some headphones, and then you hook it up to electronic one, and you could just play your phone through there and do your lessons on there. I did like Skype lessons. I mean, it's crazy. It's just not how anybody would be traditionally, learning the drums. But
technology. Yeah, a lot of guys do that now. A lot of guys will Zoom lessons.
Yeah, it's cool. What was I gonna say? You were in Chicago. What was like your favorite? Do you have a favorite venue in Chicago, or was it your first one?
Well, the Erie Crown was great. We did. I did Chicago Stadium.
Is that the old Bulls Arena?
Yeah. That was pretty wacky.
See, that's the United Center for me. That's I'm dating myself a little bit here now.
Yeah. That was pretty crazy.
How many people there?
What's that?
How many people you think filled it that night?
I don't know. 40 probably. Yeah, probably.
Dude, that is so cool. What is the most you've ever played in front of?
Um, Mile High Stadium
Oh, in Denver.
was 84,000.
Yeah. Wow.
And then one
Jesus.
time, there's a place out here in Manhattan called Starrett City, and it was newly opened, big high rises and a lot of people, and 60,000 showed up for that. But and then we did the Garden. I mean, I did the
God.
Garden 8 or 9
Yeah.
times, and Nassau Coliseum. Big venues. I kind of like
Yeah.
I like the smaller venues. I love theater in the rounds because we used to put the band on the stage, and so you go around in a circle so people can see behind me and see my feet and see what I'm doing. And it was always kind of very interesting. And I used to take solos with the band, and I took solos in Madison Square Garden, but I would take, when you're in a little more intimate setting, you could be a little more intimate about your soloing. So it's but it's all different things, all different experiences. They're all good.
Do you miss playing those huge venues, or is there some kind of like beauty in playing these kind of smaller clubs nowadays? Because some of these smaller venues are gorgeous. And it's real special. Like even in comedy, they let us in there to do our jokes or poop jokes in there. So we're coming on your turf a little bit.
Yeah. I do like the smaller venues, but smaller being 3,000, 3,500 seaters.
You still
even
want to
1,500 seaters. 300 seaters, I can't hit as hard. So it's like I have to really tone it down. So, but at least with a 1,500 seater, I can still beat them up, and
that's our clip right there. That's I can't beat them up as much. That's fantastic. Question we ask, we've had a few musicians on here before. This is a question that we've asked everyone. I think one day I'm going to compile all the answers, but dream group. So we got, feel free to put yourself on drums or lead singer, whatever you want to do, but a drummer, bassist, guitarist, frontman, anybody alive or dead, you build it.
What do you got going?
Well, if I was in the band, that would be fun. Jaco Pastorius playing bass.
Okay.
You know who that is?
I got to look him up. Nope, you went
way over my
head. He'll knock your head off. He'll knock your head off.
Oh, look at this guy. Oh, wow. Christian, we got to put a picture of this guy in. This guy's a wow. Yeah. Okay, I'm checking this guy out tonight.
Yeah, he was with Weather Report, and he was with a few other things. I mean, the guy is just ridiculous. They're great. Either Jeff Beck,
sure, of course,
or Prince. Prince was a hell of a guitar player.
Did you get to meet either of them?
No, never did.
Jeff Beck is fantastic. That's who I think Howard Stern asked Bon Jovi who he would take as the best guitarist of all time, and he picked Jeff.
Yeah,
Beck.
the guy was nuts. That's unfortunate he passed, but
sure.
Yeah,
and Prince too, obviously.
Yeah, and Prince, yeah.
So Prince,
and Jaco, they're all dead.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So 3 dead. Do we have an alive frontman maybe? Or do we want to go back to? Are we going Freddie? Are you going to go back to Freddie?
Well, it would either be Steve Perry or Sting.
Okay. All right.
They're alive.
We're living and breathing, and I know both of them. So that's a win-win and a win. That's a double win right there. Great, man. Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm trying to think of yeah, I do have a couple more. I mean, obviously we got that timer thing going on. We got like 5 more minutes though before we have to end it.
5?
Yeah, are you cool with that?
Been talking that much? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's flown by. Yeah, we're 25 deep right now, my man.
It's
okay.
It's been going. I guess, yeah. I mean, a great question. A lot of questions. I mean, I could end it with, but one of the best ones is like people getting in the industry right now to play drums, young kids. Maybe in their teens, trying to get into the industry. What is kind of like a good piece of advice nowadays you would give to young drummers?
Yeah, that is a really good question, because times have changed to the point where it's tough for young people to work. Like I said, I started when I was 14. I started my gigs. I was doing 5 nights a week in high school in clubs. Wow. I had a draft saying I was 21. So I was working and working. I didn't stop working until I stopped working, like 50 years later.
Mm-hmm.
But for young people, you have to play live. You can practice all you want, and you should pick up the sticks every day, work out. There's so many videos. There's so many people you can learn from, and you work out the physicality of it. and then play along with stuff. Put headphones on or earbuds and play along with every single record that you love. Transcribe it, work it out, copy everything you possibly can copy. Sound like that dude. And then eventually you will take on your own voice, and you will start to just say, well, I like that, but this is what I want to do. Because you will gain, with that knowledge, you'll gain independence, and you'll then really take on your own voice. But it's tough, but you have to do both. You have to have the physical end done. In other words, your body in shape and your hands in shape. And then you have to play. You have to get out and play. And the more meet people, you have to meet people, play with all different kinds of people. I know all different kinds of genres of music, because that's how I grew up. I grew up that way, so I play all different genres. But then I select the ones I want, that I really like to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and like you said, when we were talking before, you're doing a jazz gig coming up. So there you go, all different types of genres.
It's like, wow, okay, well, let's go.
Let's run with it.
Are you?
I study with this guy, a very famous drummer. His name is Joe Morello. And hold on, did I lose you?
No, I'm with you.
Joe Morello, who was with the Dave Brubeck Quartet. So I started out with a very heavy jazz influence.
Gotcha. Cool, man. Cool. Yeah, and then you got a show coming up. Then, when is the show exactly? Do you know?
Well, I've got something coming up on the 28th of April. It's in Long Island. It's really a couple of people. This singer who sounds very much like Tony Bennett, and we do like the Tony Bennett songbook.
Oh,
and
cool.
So there's a lot of jazz involved in it, and so it's something I'm throwing out, and other things are coming up that's just some fun things. And I have a manager that, hey, when we got to get your thing together. Yeah, absolutely. We're picking tunes and you're going to do a video and all that kind of stuff. And
are you a big sports guy at all?
Big time.
Are we going Devils, Islanders? Where are we for hockey?
Hockey is Rangers.
Rangers. Okay.
Basketball is Knicks.
That basketball's okay. So when you came off the road, Jordan was kind of coming on to just keep beating you guys down in the 90s.
Oh yeah. But I loved him. He was amazing. I mean, so you can't be against the guy. The guy was he's the GOAT. So I wish I never saw him live. But it's just like when I lived in LA, so I was a Magic and Kareem fan. I still was always a Knicks fan, but because that's where I grew up. But and unfortunately, I'm a Jets fan.
Okay. Oh God, yeah. Sorry about Aaron. I'm a Packers fan, so you guys got Aaron from us, but that didn't
work out. Well, hopefully it'll work out this year. But Packers fan, that kid he really turned his life around. Thank God. Yeah. I mean, he really shined. He really, really did great. That was great. So who do you got for the Super Bowl?
Well, yeah. So obviously, very hard to keep cheering for the Niners as they took our hearts in the divisional round. But yeah, I'm going. I think San Francisco takes down KC. I don't want to see a Swiftie Super Bowl. I don't know if you're seeing that. All the girls are throwing Swiftie Super Bowl parties now, all pink and purple. But
I think it's crazy. It gets a little great. I think it's a lot of fun, but as my girlfriend says, it's like, why do you have to put it in our faces? We don't really need to know, but it's all it's all about cash.
She's coming for that. Who let the dogs out record? That's what that's next on her list.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe she'll redo it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, remaster it and just get the career back. Yeah, man. Well, thank you again for doing this. I really appreciate it. You ever come out to any comedy shows ever? If you're ever in Chicago, please let me know. We'll get you out to a stand-up show of mine or something like that.
We'd love to do that. I just met you. You're really something else. Good for you with this program, and I feel very relaxed with you, and you just have such a great attitude and such an open mind, and it really, really is nice to. I'm glad we did this. Really,
I appreciate it a lot. Yeah, thank you. I guess mutual thank you then to the manager for getting that email to you that I wrote. So
yes.
Thank you to him, and thank you again for doing this and for the kind words. Absolutely. That's it for the episode. So I appreciate you guys for listening. I don't even know. We got maybe a show coming up right after this in Downers Grove, March 17th at a bowling alley. That's how we're living it big. I'm finally going back to my hometown to do a show for the first time, and it's in a bowl.
That's
in a bowling alley.
That's perfect. As long as they
Jim,
stop bowling while you're on.
I do. That's what I'm hoping, man. I do not know though. Fingers crossed on it.
We're gonna find out.
We're gonna find out. Gerry, thank you, my man. Appreciate you.
All right, you take care of yourself now.
Have a great one. Talk to you soon. Bye now. All right, folks. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Comedy Collision Podcast. I was your host, Nick Hanek. This was 84.